Hello, folks. This is GusTalks and Grizzy here, and we got Dutch Gaming with us. We're gonna about to describe how.
Alright, so first things first. What are your thoughts on the title?
I like how it doesn't say Fall of Skywalker and it says Rise for some reason. Even like it is the end of the Skywalker saga, but for some reason it still says Rise. So that could mean a lot of different things.
And then the other
Tom,
thing is
what are your
which Skywalker.
That's actually a good point. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's one of the things I had too, was obviously they keep saying it's the end of the Skywalker saga, but they refer to it obviously as the Rise. So who are they talking about? You would think it wouldn't be the same person.
I feel like they're gonna throw a curveball at us and maybe end the movie with the dark side winning. And Ben Solo is gonna technically be the Skywalker they're talking about. It's a long shot, but that'll be a cool way to end it.
As long as they're not going to be like, oh, Rey's a Skywalker.
I feel like that's gonna
nowhere.
kill it. I do not want her to be a Skywalker, not at all.
I agree.
Do you like the title? Like, do you think?
I dig it.
Yes.
Because when there were rumors of like Balance of the Force, like I hated that. Like that just didn't sound like a Star Wars title in my opinion.
No.
It's a little different, but I like it. I think this is also kind of related to the length of the movie.
Oh.
You know, similar to Avengers, since it's like the last of the, or at least supposed last of the,
Skywalker.
I guess series, that they're making it like 3 hours long. I hope, honestly, 3 hours, 4 hours, I don't care. I want them to make sure that they do a good job of tying up the, because it's 9 movies. There's a lot to, you know, sum up here.
Yeah. And especially with, I mean, in terms of length, because they have a lot of stuff to clear up, and part of that also has to do with the whole, you know, J.J. Abrams coming back to be the director again.
I'm
So,
happy for that. I am so happy. Jesus Christ.
I agree. Some of the things that happened kind of make sense, but there's still other points that don't make sense at all. I'm sorry, the Finn and Rose arc was just pointless.
I'm sure the prequels too, but I was a kid, so I was enjoying them no matter what, and I've been told that when The Empire Strikes Back came out, a lot of people didn't like it.
Ah, shit.
It's the trilogy's not complete yet, and of course we're not gonna like every single little aspect of it, but again, it's Star Wars. No matter what, to me, I enjoy the movie, whether it's good or bad. Like, I like The Last Jedi. I don't think it was the best Star Wars movie, and I think they could have done a better job, but I liked it. Like, a lot of people just hate it and like are like boycotting Disney and Star Wars because of it. Like, that's
why
to me,
that's why
you're not a fan. Yeah, Solo too. I didn't like it that much, but again, it's still a Star Wars movie, and it's something different. You know, there's never really been a Star Wars movie like that before. There was Rogue One, but it was telling a story. It wasn't really about someone's life.
This might get some hate, but for me, Last Jedi is my second favorite Star Wars movie. I really liked Last Jedi and all the things they took with it. Sure, there was a lot of things that had problems with it, but I mean, there's a lot of movies that have a lot of problems that are still considered amazing. The only movie that tops it for me is Empire Strikes Back. Always be my favorite Star Wars movie. But for me, Last Jedi is still my second favorite. Talking about the trailer, on that first scene when we see Rey with a TIE fighter, I just need clarification. Is that Kylo Ren in the TIE fighter? Or in his vehicle? I'm pretty sure that's not the final battle of the movie. She's not just gonna be running away from that. Just like for like the start of the battle. I don't think so.
That's not his TIE fighter. You know that, right?
It's not. Okay.
It's not his, but that doesn't mean it's not him. I thought immediately it was him, solely from seeing the gloves, because I'm pretty certain that those were his gloves.
It could be the trailer playing games with our mind. Like, it could be another scene where we see his gloves in a vehicle, and then they just added it in that scene. Just like,
which, that's also a possibility. Because that does happen often, too.
It's just like in Last Jedi. They showed us that his TIE fighter shot at where Leia's control ship is, but in the movie, he doesn't shoot, and then the TIE fighter behind him instead shoots. So it could be something like that.
Right. One thing, though, if you watch it in slow-mo, or even if you just watch it regularly and you pay close attention, she's not jumping over that. She's not clearing it.
Yeah.
My prediction for that little scene is she's slicing that shit in half.
Yeah. Or at least
taking out one of the wings. Yeah, taking out one of the wings. That's what I think.
Well, because it looks like she's like right in the middle of it, so my assumption is she's going to slice it down the middle. She's not going to slice all the way through because the lightsaber's not that long. Some of the quotes that he says. First thing he says, "We have taught you everything we know." We. So who is we?
I think like, we taught you all we know. Most likely, you know, Lucas is like communed with her through the Force. Yoda, probably Anakin, Obi-Wan maybe. Well, I mean, Obi-Wan really has already talked to her technically through the Force. So it could be them like teaching her stuff.
I'm guessing the we. I'm pretty sure more certainly it's referring to Luke and Yoda. There could be more, but I'm pretty sure Yoda is one of the people that also help with their training. I'm more than
I
certain.
kind of felt the same. I knew that like Luke and Yoda were most likely definite. I don't know if it'll be more. I think it'll just be them two also. As much as I would like it to be more, because I don't know how else they would incorporate Obi-Wan and Anakin, because they're like rumored to possibly be in it. But I think it'll definitely be Luke and Yoda at least. That would be a good way for them to explain why she'd be so much more advanced in the next episode as opposed to the last two. Because she has like a year of training now from two of like the most powerful ever.
Luke's second quote.
Yeah. He said, 1,000 generations live in you now. To me, that kind of just like made my jaw drop a little bit and made it seem like they can now make her the most powerful Jedi in history because she has thousands of generations of all Jedi all within her knowledge, or supposedly. I don't really know how that would be possible in a year, but let's just assume it is.
So
How could she not be the most powerful one ever?
yeah, I think my thought on what that quote means is the books she got from Luke. She had those ancient Jedi texts, so I think that could be it.
He said 1,000 generations live in you now, basically meaning she's the last Jedi, and she kind of has a lot of weight on her shoulders that like everything's up to her now.
That's right. That makes sense. Yeah.
A lot of pressure.
Like if she dies or fails, like it's all gone. That's makes sense. Then that means the only people that will know the ability of the Force are pretty much dark side users.
Just like that whole, when he said that, like when you hear him say that, and she's just like standing out there in the desert, and then you see the TIE fighter approaching, like that shit gave me so many chills. Like I thought that was crazy. Watching that live, I was like, oh man, so many people aren't gonna like it, but like I was sitting in my car watching it, and I was like yelling at the top of my lungs. I was like, this is awesome. I thought that part was so cool. The Kylo fight scene. I very much liked it, and I also am excited to see... We haven't really seen him just like mow down a bunch of people yet, so I feel like that scene will be the chance we finally get to see him like unleash the beast.
Kylo Ren hallway scene. Let's get it.
How do you guys feel about the Death Star remains being shown in the trailer?
I like it.
I want to know what planet that's on.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like that they're doing that. I'm interested to see what they do with it too, because obviously I would hope it's not just going to be that one little scene, like a background type of thing, like the Star Destroyers on Jakku. So there's one thing that was in the trailer that I didn't even notice at first. You see a ship fly towards like a city, and it's like nighttime, and then that one split-second scene, which again I didn't notice the first time, of a ship crashing, and you can see an Imperial Star Destroyer in the background. If you remember from the last movie, when Rey's like trying to find out who her parents are, and you see that little flashback of her as a little girl, and she's watching a ship fly away, that ship and the ship in the trailer that is shown twice looks very, very similar.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
That could be something. Like, whoever Rey's parents are supposed to be could be the one flying that ship. Leia's role and Lando's return. What are your... Well, let's do Leia's role first. How do you think they should handle that whole situation?
It's a very sensitive subject when it comes to it, because it's like, you can keep her alive, which is great, but I know they're using B-roll footage of either Force Awakens or Last Jedi, and also Carrie's daughter. I don't know if this is confirmed, but said they're allowing... Well, they allowed for the footage to be used. And...
Right.
This is what I heard, and part of me kind of hopes they don't do it, is use CGI to put her in more scenes like they did with Tarkin and Rogue One and whatnot. And, I mean, they did...
Like, it was nice to see Tarkin CGI. I hope they don't overdo it.
And they did... Yeah, I mean, it was good in that one because it kind of made sense. It was talking about the Death Star and shit. He was a big part of the events of the Death Star, more or less. But,
I agree. I think it worked well for Tarkin, and, like, I think some people complain about it, but I, like... If I didn't know any better, I wouldn't have even been able to tell that that was CGI. Like, I thought they did a great job on Tarkin. However, the very end of Rogue One with Leia, I thought that was terrible. Oh, I thought that looked awful.
And also, when I was talking about the gray areas, like, if you kill her off, it's just like... So it's kind of like how people react to that. So it's very gray.
So how about Lando?
better not fucking die.
I feel like the only
First
reason he
off-
does come back is because of Han. Han was his best friend for most of his life. So like hearing his death will definitely like make him want to help.
I know a lot of people joke about it, but I don't see them killing him off.
If they would kill someone off, do you think they would kill off Chewbacca?
God, if they do, I think the whole freaking fan base would. So, do you guys have any thoughts on the medallion?
I don't think it's anything important. I think it's just
Fan service, they keep saying, I think, right?
Palpatine? That was a shock. I mean, that also gives into the quote of Luke Skywalker, like, no one's really gone.
I am so looking forward to what occurs
do
with
with
that,
that.
honestly.
Yeah. That was
So
that
much.
came out of nowhere.
Because that's huge, dude. That's huge. That changes so many things, again, depending on what is done with him. Are we ready for prime time?
it's gotta.
Theories. How we think the movie's gonna end, how we think things might go, and explanations for certain things.
Everyone knows Palpatine's master was the infamous Darth Plagueis. Can save people from death and all that stuff. Can form midichlorians to form new life, which is speculated to be why Anakin is basically Star Wars Jesus. The tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise. He taught his apprentice everything he knew, and that's why the apprentice killed him, aka Palpatine. So
Yep.
he taught Palpatine everything, and then Palpatine was enticing Anakin in Episode 3, saying, together we can find the secrets to save Padme. Yeah, I think Palpatine wanted Padme dead the entire time just to fuel Anakin's anger. So I think the thing was Palpatine didn't really fully die. He was able to save himself.
Well, I thought it was I never confirmed, but like the assumption that Palpatine was the one who created Anakin.
It's one of
Or
the
am I
two.
incorrect?
So it
It's,
could be either
again, it's
or.
never like confirmed.
Yeah, because if you look at Episode 3 during that whole scene, when he says can even do something with the midichlorians to form life, Palpatine looks over and just stares at Anakin. I don't think that's Palpatine wanting to get into Anakin's pants. I think that's like, hey buddy, I'll be real bad. So in the scene in the trailer, you see the Imperial class Star Destroyer and the A-wing flying past it and crashes. My thing is, okay, why show it? What's the point? In the book, it mentions that Palpatine has been to Jakku before the events of Episode 1, and he had a secret base there that was heavily guarded. So I'm wondering if that's a flashback to the Battle of Jakku, and my thing is, you see Rey and Poe and Finn and C-3PO on a sand planet. I wonder if that's Jakku, and they're trying to find this secret bunker of Palpatine's. To see if there's something in there or something falling to
That'd be
them.
awesome.
Because in the Battlefront 2 campaign, you see that they go to one of Palpatine's many vaults to find stuff.
Yeah, the
I wonder
compass,
if-
which is seen in The Last Jedi.
Yeah. So I'm curious if they try to go to Jakku to try to find whatever Palpatine was hiding or what he was doing in there in the first place. And I wonder,
Ooh.
due to Rey being on Jakku, I wonder if Rey has any, involvement in it. What if they do find something on Jakku? Or they find something on Jakku and they're like, oh shit, we need to find the Death Star. And assuming it's the second one, they're probably on whatever planet Endor, the force moon of Endor surrounds. So they go find the Death Star, because that satellite piece should include the throne room we see in Episode 6. Is Palpatine fully back? He could be, or is it going to be whatever they're trying to find, Palpatine has some involvement in it. And I think that'd be awesome because Palpatine literally had his fingers into everything, starting from 1 all the way to 6. So that would be an awesome way to kind of bring all 9 movies just into each other. It's all, Palpatine with the Rise of Skywalker, Return of Palpatine. I can see it. But that's really about it.
One thing that I do want, the title has a lot to do with my theory, The Rise of Skywalker. One thing I hope that they do that might be really interesting is Anakin's gonna come back as a Force Ghost who teaches Rey some stuff about the Force. And something I would really like is that Kylo Ren talks to Vader. So we hear them both, but Kylo talks to the dark side of Anakin, and Rey talks to the light side of Anakin. And what I want is him rebuilding the helmet did a lot of thinking for me, and I feel that him rebuilding the helmet is going to be within the first couple minutes of the movie. I hope this is a very long stretch, but I hope the movie starts off with like Kylo like somewhere, like probably on his ship or something, and he's talking to someone. And he's like, the job is done. I now rule the galaxy on my own. And I want Darth Vader's voice to be the voice talking to him and be like, good. Now your next training will be. If that is the case, because in episode 7 he's talking to the helmet. Why is he talking to the helmet? I don't know. We don't know why. But for me, I think Vader has been talking with Kylo the entire time, and he's the one because Darth Vader wanted to control the galaxy. That was one of his main things. That's why he became powerful. So for me, I think Darth Vader is the one who convinced Kylo to kill Snoke and take the galaxy for his own. And so I want the movie to open up with Kylo talking to something, or talking to the helmet again, and we hear Darth Vader's voice. And then sometime later in the movie, we find out that Rey has been talking to Anakin, not Darth Vader, but Anakin. I don't know. For me, that ties in with the whole title, The Rise of Skywalker. That Anakin will be coming back, but as Vader and as Anakin himself. In my opinion, those three people are going to be main influences. They were main influences for Luke, which were Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Yoda. And I feel that now Luke is going to be a part of that equation, and they're going to be main influences for Rey. Those are the 4 main people she's going to be talking to. And that's why the title's going to be called The Rise of Skywalker. You will probably see each of them, mainly at different points. Like, you'll probably see Luke, like, during her training and stuff. And then Luke would probably be talking with, like, Obi-Wan and, Anakin and, Yoda. That's one thing, though. I saw somewhere that Hayden Christensen was seen on the set of Episode 9. That's why I feel that Anakin will be back. And that's why, and I feel like Kylo's going to be influenced by Vader. I feel Rey is going to take on her apprentice at the end of the movie. That's going to lead towards whatever movies they make later, or Disney show, I don't know, on their streaming service. But I think Kylo Ren is going to eventually die somehow. I don't know how, but I don't see Kylo Ren living throughout all this. We're going to find out, like, we're going to learn a lot about Rey and Kylo in this movie. And at the end, he's going to pay the ultimate price and die for it. And he's going to have, like, a sympathetic moment with Rey, like Luke does with the Vader at the end.
So you mentioned, like, all 4 of them. Do you think that, like, there will be any, like, moment, like, at the end of, like, the end of the movie, kind of like Return of the Jedi, where they're all going to be together at once?
If they do that, I feel like it will be kind of cheesy, but I'm for certain we're going to see Luke as a Force Ghost, Obi-Wan as a Force Ghost, Anakin as a Force Ghost, and Yoda as a Force Ghost again. I have a strong feeling we're going to see that all. I don't know if they're going to be together, but that's what I think.
My theory is if Palpatine actually returns, you don't know for certain, like, how he's going to be in the movie, like if he'll be in person or if he'll be like a Force Ghost or something. If he is alive, I say that Rey is going to be a descendant. Now, this would explain her super high Force sensitivity, because, a lot of people have been complaining about that. So after Episode 6, the Emperor could have created her similarly to how he supposedly created Anakin. He could have also cloned her using Luke's hand from Episode 5, which would explain her connection to his lightsaber in The Force Awakens. But now the question is, why would he create her? And I would have to say it would be the same reason he created Anakin. He needs an all-powerful apprentice. Especially after Vader is, killed, and the Emperor knows that, he can't convert Luke to the dark side. He needs an apprentice. After doing some research, I found out Rey's only 19 in The Force Awakens, which I actually didn't know that before looking all this up. So she was born 11 years after Return of the Jedi. The only reason why I would say that the Emperor waited all these years after Return of the Jedi to create her would be because of how much power it took for him to survive, like technically being killed, and also how much power it might take to, like, create a human being. So maybe that's why, like, he didn't just do it right away. However, there's some holes to this theory if Palpatine and Snoke are the same person, because why would he create Rey if he was calling Kylo to the dark side? Again, I looked up, Kylo is about 10 years older than Rey. It also states that he wasn't targeted by Snoke until he was in his late teens, so this was years before Force Awakens. So if the Emperor and Snoke are the same person, they could have created Rey not knowing Kylo had the potential to go dark, because you would assume that she was born before they started calling out to him. So they found that out years after creating her. It's also possible that Rey was abandoned by her quote-unquote parents, meaning the Emperor and/or Snoke and/or if they're the same person, when the decision was made for them to pursue Kylo instead of trying to have her as the apprentice. Now, for actual events in the movie, I think Rey and Kylo are going to team up and try to take down the Emperor, again, assuming he's alive. It's hinted strongly in The Last Jedi that one of them could turn, especially Kylo. It's mentioned several times how, like, she can feel the good in him, and, like, I think Luke and Han and Leia, or some combination of that, say, like, they feel the good in him. Also, in the trailer, Tom strongly disagrees, but it very obviously is shown that he is cutting down one of the Knights of Ren. If you watch it in slow-mo, even just watching it normally, I noticed it. If you look at the tool that the person is holding, that he cuts down, they're holding like an axe of some sort. It's not like a lightsaber or anything like that, it's just some like melee weapon. And if you look on the poster, the Knights of Ren are holding like melee weapons. I think the one you can see looks like some sort of like curved machete type of thing. But I'm almost certain that in the trailer he's cutting down a Knight of Ren, which would make sense because if he switched sides, obviously he's going to be trying to kill them. And as you guys mentioned before, which I didn't know, the original script was supposed to have him turn on them anyway and fight in The Last Jedi with Rey, so if that's what JJ wanted, then he would just do it in the next movie. Maybe if Palpatine and Snoke were the same person, then after being killed in The Last Jedi, he tried to go back to his original Emperor body in Death Star 2 after The Last Jedi, and that's where he would be discovered, which is, again, they show the Death Star 2 in the trailer. Sebby said something very similar. I think that Kylo is going to die saving Rey, if they're both going to try to take down the Emperor. And that would explain why it's the end of the Skywalker saga, because Kylo is technically a Skywalker, and if Rey is a Palpatine or some other, descendant, she could live on in new movies, thus still ending the Skywalker saga.
Oh, like,
And that's pretty much all I have to say. I am so hyped for this movie. That's all I really have to say.
I am too. This movie's supposed to be the end of everything, so hopefully they do a good job and explain everything that needs to be explained, and can't wait till Christmas.
let's get a 3-hour Star Wars
Agreed.
movie, boys.